agree. All right, we're going to do one more segment, then we'll get to Joshua. But I really do want to talk about this, what the Democrats are putting forward with this thing called, I think they're calling it the Heroes Bill. So again, just a brief, kind of historical reminder. We've had bailout packages that I'm imagining that $1,200 is not running very long for a lot of people. And, the usual story, I would go back and look at the original piece we did on it, look at the video Grand Theft Bailout, where we detailed all of the just endless giveaways from, the recapitalization and, just sort of funneling a massive amount of money into the financial sector and supporting monopolies across the board, insufficient provisions for small businesses, and of course, little to nothing for workers in any structural sense, although Bernie Sanders did achieve some better unemployment benefits, which of course are under siege with, as an example, with the push by the Republicans for reckless and murderous reopenings. But also, subsidies for candy makers. I mean, just the kind of lobbyist bonanza of just kind of base corruption that was pushed through. And I would also look at Zach Carter's reporting on this, going into real detail on just the complete and utter bipartisan abuse of the public. And, we've had Nancy Pelosi's out with her ice cream cartons, and Chuck Schumer's looking for, little symbolic nonsense that amount to nothing, substantively or politically, and the whole thing has been just absolutely obscene, and it's worked. I think that's important to look at. It's worked for what it's designed to do. The stock market is doing quite well, and there has not been a corresponding fallout in the financial sector that you might expect to see when you're going into a pandemic and an unemployment crisis. Now, will that continue indefinitely? I'm not suggesting that at all. I think there's a reason why we're hearing talk about another bailout. At some point, they are going to do more for people, quote unquote, although I'm concerned about what that looks like. I mean, is that an insurance industry bailout that involves public subsidies for a bunch of new call center jobs? I mean, we got to look very, very wary at this. And this bill that the Democrats have put forward, let's start with this clip of Pramila Jayapal. And Pramila Jayapal, solid progressive legislator. I think, she and Pocan have done good work in the Progressive Caucus, but this is not somebody who has wanted to, in any significant way, sort of like, this is somebody who does not go in guns blazing at the Democratic leadership. But the fact that there has been reporting on her being upset with Nancy Pelosi for not including the guaranteed paycheck initiative that basically modeled off of what's been successfully done in Denmark to ensure that people's wages will continue during this. That the fact that, Richie Neal did not include it with Pelosi support. Richie Neal of Ways and Means, very, very corporate friendly Democrat, certainly opposed to all of the necessary universal programs. This is Pramila Jayapal explaining her legislation that Nancy Pelosi did not include in the final bill. And a Rational National, our buddy David Dole, clipped this. Let's watch Pramila Jayapal.
This way, in our brief few seconds,
MSNBC.
One biggest way that the PGA would be better than the PPP before we go.
Well, it prevents mass unemployment. It actually has the federal government go directly to the business. It preserves that relationship between workers and businesses. And it says, we will guarantee your paychecks and we will also keep you with your benefits. And the business also gets an operating cost on top of it. So it's all businesses, regardless of the size of business, because if we're protecting paychecks, we should be protecting paychecks for everyone. And it does not use banks to try to get money to people. That's just an extra layer. Why not go straight from the federal government to the business and stop mass unemployment and keep it going until the economy reaches a certain level? It's what most countries around the world have done, not just European countries, but also Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, and we can do that too. Stop mass unemployment, keep paychecks coming, keep workers with their benefits.
Now,
the reason
this
and I would watch David Dole's commentary on this as well. But I mean, the reason that they've presented for not doing this obvious thing on a policy level is because there isn't a Republican co-sponsor. So there isn't a bipartisan thing, although obviously this could just be muscled through the House. And you can make some political hay if you wanted to. Why won't the Senate Republicans pass a bill that would guarantee people's paychecks in a depression and a pandemic? And then, of course, the usual chestnuts about cost. Now, things like the earned income tax credit, which they're putting in as alternatives, I think, cost a hell of a lot too. And also, let's just give a sense, and this bill will keep getting reported on, but let's just give a little bit of a sense by clicking on some of the other things that this bill is going to spend money on. I think we have, I don't see it. It's not in front of me, but if you could, So this is David Sirota. New House bill, new House Dems have moved from helping Trump give corporations $4 trillion to making sure that PPP money can be used as a bailout to bail out corporate lobbyists, Koch brother backed dark money organizations, and industry front groups that run anti-Medicare for all ads. That's right. One aspect of this bill would apparently make it eligible for lobbyists to get a bailout. We also have another part of the bill that essentially seems to be serving some type of temporary bailout for debt collectors. It allows people to write a simple forbearance and get out of paying their debts for the time being. Now, there's no debt forgiveness. There's no renegotiating of terms, nothing like that. But it does say, look, you can fill out a form, make it simple, not get bothered by a debt collector for, a couple of months. But there's actually going to be a bailout fund for the debt collecting companies, it looks like. So,
yeah,
this is the we are coming back with our own legislation as House Democrats bill so far.
This is another one.
Yeah.
The very last section of the House Democrats HEROES Act appears to give Cuomo the flexibility he demanded to cut Medicaid costs while still collecting extra federal aid. The language is plainly tailored to New York State. I mean, you're talking about a visionless party.
I think it's a vision party. I think they are hardcore ideological center-right neoliberals.
Utopians.
I think they are absolutely utopians. I think that the Democratic Party is run by dangerous utopians. Again, don't loop this back on me as a reason to it's better if Trump, whatever. That's all nonsense. And again, this whole right-wing populism scam is a scam. There's no right-wing populism here. And you're already seeing from the Republicans, not only are they not moving and outflanking the Democrats on certain issues, which I thought they might do several weeks ago, they're going back to, in addition to trying to savage food stamps, the drumbeat, the deficit, Medicare, Social Security.
You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.